Hey everyone, I'm Biggie, and I really have kind of come to the conclusion that despite me being in our online league for like 5 or 6 years, that I don't know what I'm doing and that I'm not that good at being a GM. And so this kind of happened when I re-entered the league after my exodus, um, and I saw that I pretty much had a 500 career record, and that I'd been in the league for like 30 something, maybe 20 or 30 seasons. I'd never won a championship. I made it to the finals once, and I lost to Duncan. Um, I never had a team that had like an era where I never like had like a dominant team, even if I didn't win any playoffs. Like you know, think of like the '90s Braves that made the playoffs, like or won the division like 10 times straight or whatever it was. Um, I never built. I had never done anything impressive in our online league. And that kind of led to the realization that I'm not good, and that I don't know what I'm doing, and that I should learn, learn about the game, And that's how you know that I'm not that smart of a person, because it wouldn't have taken a normal person like 5 to 6 years to figure out that they're not good. But regardless, I've learned that now, and now I'm learning about the game. So now that I've started to rebuild, thinking about how I'm going to develop my players has become um, an important topic. And so the development lab was one of the things that I wanted to do my best to understand. So every offseason I could use it to the best advantage that I could. And so there's really a few things I wanted to figure out. So there's the different difficulties for the development lab. I wanted to figure out what exactly those meant. Like how hard was very hard, how hard is easy, right? I wanted to know and I wanted to know if personality affected it. And so one thing that I realized one day, so I love looking at the Stats Plus reports. And so here's Dave. This is one of my prospects that I'm really excited about. Um, I scrolled down and I saw this player history, and I saw that it lists out every single time a player does a development lab thing, along with what they tried to improve on, and if they did actually improve with it. It shows the result. Not with all the guts I would like. It doesn't say like, hey, your avoid K increased by 5 points or whatever. But it's enough to know that from a high level we can learn from this player history. So what I did is I wrote a little Python script to go and loop through all the different URLs for all the different players, download everyone's player histories. Then I took that, cleaned it up, brought that into Excel for us to look at and learn from. And so this gives us about 10,000 development lab results. And so, of course, one thing I do want to note, this is all for Out of the Park 25. We're going to switch to Out of the Park 26 in a few weeks, so I'm not sure how how important all this is, but hey, it's interesting at least. Um, and so most of the players in the development lab are actually put there by the AI. So like in our league, we have um, our organizations, but then there's all the college teams and high school teams, the feeder leagues that are ran by the AI, and they also have access to the dev lab. So most of the allocation is used by the AI, not by us. But looking at the general results, what we can see here, well, so first, before I even start talking, let me explain it all. So I have it grouped by, hey, how difficult is the given complex type, right? Then I have the result, and the result is -1, 0, 1, and 2. -1 is a detrimental result. These are the, hey, you slid backwards. 0 is, yet there is no change at all from the lab. 1 was, hey, the lab did what we thought it was going to do. And 2 is, hey, the player crushed it. Um, and so when you look at individual rows, there are some like credibility concerns. Like I'm not sure how many development labs I need to trust the result. So as a result, I've kind of shied away from trusting um, individual rows, and instead I do trust the individual groups, which it does look like does a pretty decent job. So I'm kind of going under the assumption that inside all the different groups, the very easy, easy, medium, hard, very hard, it's all the same, and all the differences inside of them are just noise. So that's kind of led me to this view up here. And so we can see that the success rate, which is 0, which is 1 and 2. So the player got better for easy 68, 58, 45, 34, 34. Um, my big takeaway is that hard and very hard are not very hard. If you would have asked me, hey Big E, what do you think is a success rate of adding a pitch to Arsenal in the development lab, I would have said like 5%. If you told me it was 34%, which I've now learned is 34%, obviously, I would be shocked. I mean, I was shocked. I was very, very, very surprised to see this, right? That was absolutely not what I would have guessed. And same thing with hard. I would have thought hard would have been maybe like a 10% or a 15% chance. Um, but no, it's a 34% chance of, I would have thought that the vast, so, I mean, which is, this was true. The vast majority of results for the harder ones are no change. But the fact that the downside is so small to me means that the risk of doing a hard one is absolutely worth it, right? Um, so I like that. I think that's really, really neat. So my takeaways here is that hard and very hard aren't very hard. I will be using the added pitch to Arsenal a lot more. And I'm going to be very aggressive when it comes to, I'm going to slot them into the hard ones because I want the players to be as good as possible, right? So I'm going to be pretty aggressive with this. I think this is super interesting. Particularly learning that I should not be scared of the difficulties. Personality result, the personality results were also interesting. And so what we're looking at here is this is success rate. So this is the percent of uh, labs that finished with a 1 or a 2, a successful or an outstanding result. And then here is, so this is the raw data to the left. Then G and H, this is low minus normal and then high minus normal, right? So this is saying that on average, a high work ethic player has a 2% higher success rate than a normal player, and a low work ethic has a 2% lower success rate than a normal player. To me, that is like nothing, right? That is so small. 2%? Come on. Like that is, I would not worry about work ethic when it comes to development lab results at all. And down here with intelligence, same thing. I mean, this is like, don't be afraid to throw your dumb players into the development lab at all. Just not something I'm even concerned about. Um, I think this is interesting because I feel like a lot of people have the default assumption is that, hey, personality has a big effect. And it doesn't. No, it has a very, very small effect. And maybe that's just me reading too much of the out of the park Reddit where everybody is like, dude, I never bring in my low work ethic or low intelligence players. No, you absolutely can. I feel like that's a bit of the community, I think, has absolutely overcorrected for it. I think our out of the park league, the CBA, I don't think it's nearly as big of a conversation here, which I would say that our league is, in that sense, from my perception, ahead of the curve already, which to me makes sense because I do think we have some very, very smart GMs in the league. And hopefully, if I do enough of these studies, I will become one of them eventually. I'll build a dynasty, which is part of the fun, right? The goal. So, hope you guys learned something. The big takeaways being don't be afraid of the hard and very hard dev labs. And does personality impact success rate? Yes. Does it really matter? No. I don't think this has a substantial effect. Hopefully you guys agree with me. Hopefully you guys found this interesting. If there's anything else you'd like me to take a look at, let me know in the Discord. If you think I did something wrong, also let me know in the Discord. And if there's something else you want me to take a look at, shoot me a message. Yep. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.